Hello everybody, thank you so much for jumping into this video. My name is Danny ColdBlood, aka MusicVidiot, and I have a very special guest here for everybody. I am presented with the one, the only, Karma. Karma, how are you doing today, bud?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm good. How's everybody?
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining me on a discussion video today. It's really awesome having you here. For all you guys that don't know out there, Karma is the one that recently discovered this whole new black cell phone. I'm not gonna say cheat because it's not a cheat, but the whole black cell phone number or code, if you will. The first thing that I did when I seen it going around is I tried it myself, obviously, and the first thing that I checked was I went to my stats and I checked and I made sure that it wasn't registering as a cheat. So that is one thing that I want you guys to all know and keep in the back of your mind, that this is not a cheat, or if it is, the game does not recognize it as such. You know, there's different questions still on this black cell phone, Karma. Now, you found this thing, you figured out, you know, it caused a little explosion, and it changes our phone. Now, do you have any idea why it's doing this? Is there any kind of explanation that you might know that we don't? Or do you think it's just that whole Emperor color shade or whatever with the shade on the numbers? And, I mean, what do you think on it? Like, I'm kind of just wondering myself along with many, many others.
Okay, obviously, like you said, it's not a cheat. You don't get any kind of achievement. It doesn't mess up your achievements or anything in that matter. It's all cool, you know. It just simply, if you pay attention and notice, your phone will change. Yeah, the size changes and all that. That's all good. The Emperor thing was pretty clever to come up with. You know, that's clever, but that's not it. I just don't think that's it. It wouldn't explain the explosion above your head. I just don't see it working that way. I do think that you've definitely triggered a certain mode that is going as you do this. And when you put the code in once again, for the phone number, it deactivates in a way to where your phone goes back, and you know that's it. But you also don't get cheat deactivated like you would with a cheat as well. So that's twice that it does something and it doesn't, like it wouldn't for a cheat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't activate a cheat, nor does it disactivate a cheat. So, or deactivate a cheat. So, you know, I definitely think it's a mode, man. I think it's a mode that we need to be somewhere. Whether it's explode something, I don't know. But if you Google what an actual black cell phone is, it clearly says it's about, I mean, almost like an electromagnetic type of field, but it scatters signals, and your text messages and pictures are protected. And I feel like it's a Zancudo thing in a way. Me personally, you see warning signs about not using photography here, this and that, all over Zancudo.
Yeah, you know what? I did recently see those don't take photographs here or whatever, signs like that around Zancudo. So maybe, are you kind of saying that? Because I did look up black cell phones online, and I kind of got this James Bond feel from everything. Like, you know, like people that are in the CIA or Secret Service, they're gonna have these black cell phones that are kind of like more secure than the average bear kind of cell phone. That's kind of what I gathered. And if that's what the game is trying to tell us that we have, maybe you're right. Maybe we do have to use something, you know, with Fort Zancudo. Maybe it is tied to that somehow, some way.
Maybe, you know, you have the option of sending photos in a couple of missions, or, you know, a couple of different. Maybe there's a way to send something to someone only in that code that you couldn't have access to. You have all those phone numbers and contacts on your phone, and it seems like not even a quarter of them work once the game is done, or what you think is done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's so much left open that something has to be there.
Now,
whether it's
is there
anything
that we could do with the black cell phones? Is there any apps? Is there anything restricted, or is there anything opened up, or is it just basically it just changes the style, like the color?
Well, I did. That was one of the first things I did was go fishing inside the in-game website. I'm thinking, because it's definitely, in a way, I think of it as an FBI. I was supposed to say FIB, an FBI style, you know, Men in Black type of thing is what I keep thinking in my head, and it seems like you would have access to certain things. So I went to the website. There's actually a website, the iFruit website. iFruit sounds like Apple, and a lot of people jailbreak Apple phones. So it seems sort of like a jailbreak sort of version of a phone, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm just saying. and you can actually type in black cell phones. I think Noir did this, from Twitter. I think he did it. I talked to him about it. I think he typed in black cell phones in the search bar of the in-game phone, and it automatically brought up the iFruit webpage, right? We were just trying to figure something out with this. And that says something to me. Like, why? Because if you've ever tried that in the game, like, it's really hard to get. If you don't type in the correct thing, it doesn't go to the website. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You just type in black cell phone and it goes directly to that website. And there's some interesting stuff on that website you should check out. You know, and show some people. It's pretty interesting.
Nice. That's very interesting stuff, man. It really is, because, you know, the iFruit website, there's also the iFruit app, and I've stressed to people before how that app was made for a reason. You know, the whole thing with Chop and the golden collar. And it's funny, I was just at the Rockstar warehouse looking at the, online at the store at the Rockstar warehouse, and I found a collar. They actually have a Chop collar and, like, leash for sale now. And I'm like, holy shit, there it is in my face yet again. The Chop collar, for some reason, being brought back to me here. I don't know if it's
very. I also noticed that in the warehouse that they kind of snuck in. You know how Rockstar is, a little sneaky. I love them, but they're sneaky, and I think they're that way for a reason. And they snuck these cowbells in that really caught my attention.
Right.
Cowbells, of all things, cowbells with a Rockstar logo.
Right.
And so I went to check in the game, and actually in game there are a select few cows that are wearing that exact bell, and it's just kind of like, does that ring a bell type of thing is what I do for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
cows are very suspicious too, because they're very mysterious. I've had people recently sending me stuff on Twitter and different methods of reaching me, but they've been telling me, I've heard noises over at these cows, or these cows are acting a certain way, or maybe I'll go more into that on a different, on a video or something. But dude, you're definitely right, because there's something with the cows. I don't know what, but people have been noticing some definite like weird things happening. And then, for them to have that on the website, and it wasn't on the website long. I mean, I think I looked and it's already taken off or sold out or whatever, but it's very weird,
I feel like
how
the
they do
forklifts. You ever notice these forklifts? There's not a whole lot in places that would make sense, like around the big factories and stuff downtown. However, when you're out in the country, beside a bunch of cows, you run into 2 or 3 different forklifts.
Right.
And I kind of feel like they are there for a reason. I'm trying to pay attention to the stickers and stuff. And like you said, the whole cows, I've seen stuff, not to get out there and crazy with it, but I have, this is Rockstar, this is GTA we're talking about, and I have seen the whole cow getting abducted thing before. I've heard about it, and possibly you got to use that forklift or something. I don't know.
Possibly, man. Possibly. I've always told people from the beginning of me using my YouTube channel for the mystery, I've been telling people we have to look at every different avenue, because Rockstar will use different ways to give us clues. They're not going to just give it to us in single player or online, or it could be on their store. It could be anywhere, and especially in the updates too. Like, they recently gave us director mode not too long ago, and there's a couple weird things even about director mode. I brought up before how they, on director mode there's no baseball bats. Like, you can't use golf clubs or baseball bats. I don't think you can use the black cell phone on director mode either, can you?
No, absolutely. It's odd, actually. You could probably maybe try putting it in and making it activate the black cell phone, and then go over to director mode and see how that works.
Right.
That's something to try, because when you leave you're still in that mode. You're saved. Maybe that, if you notice when you go to director, it asks you if you want to save your game. It has like a save thing pop up.
Right.
And that's kind of interesting to me. But you also only have access to your Snapmatic app, which kind of makes sense. All those crazy filters and the sunglasses you can get to make look, those crazy colors. And you have another app, and it's called Job List. And I just don't understand why a Job List app, of all the apps, is the only one there beside the camera. Right? And it's empty.
So wait, so we have 2 total apps in director mode that we can use. That's it.
Right. It's just those 2. And I don't get it. I don't get that. That baffles me. I feel like they're right there in your face saying, look, there's a checklist here, and this is the job list. This is what I get from it. Like, it's a checklist that you need to get something done, because everything works in director mode that I've come across, as far as, like, 100% complete things, and you know, like UFO spawning or ghost spawning, whatever. It all works on director mode as well. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, plus you get to use these cheats to help you out and changing weather and all that, and you don't have to worry about tripping anything.
Right.
It doesn't work as a cheat. However, the one things I have noticed that don't come are the peyote plants. I did notice that. You know, I don't know what that's about, but
see, there's a reason for all this stuff. There's definitely reasons why they do. You know, you found this black stuff one thing. We just mentioned how you can't use it in director mode that we know of. Okay, but you did mention something that's really sticking in the back of my mind. Also, is with this. You know, maybe it's something to do with the army base. The army base is still very, very mysterious to me, man. There's so much about it that just makes me sit there and just still go up to it over and over again and just investigate. Even though I know every nook and cranny, I feel like there's something that I'm missing. Like there's a whole like a morning call that I missed. You were telling me about a morning call. Explain that to me over again.
Yeah. Look, man. Let's be honest. Everyone deep down still has that kid in them. For us that played San Andreas or whatever, like, we still have the ultimate, I think, in everyone's mind in the end of this mystery is to fly a jetpack. That's just my opinion. I'm just saying. That seems like the ultimate, that's it. That's what everyone wants to do is get a jetpack. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome. It's right on. But if you go back to San Andreas, man, with CJ, you know, there was a mission that you could do with a guy named The Truth. He was called The Truth. You could compare him to Omega if you want. Go back and take a look at that, or if you've actually played it. But there's a mission, about a 10-minute long mission, where you have to be at the army base, which is called Area 69, right? You're out there in this desert, this whole desert area, kind of like Sandy Shores. And you get out to this desert, and The Truth pretty much drops you off in his van and leaves. So you got to break into the army base and get into a bunker underneath the army base, right?
Okay.
And you have to be there. You have to do it by 5:30 in the morning. And they have, in the game, GTA5, they have the 5:30 or 6, I think it is, like a roll call, you know, and you'll hear, like, the horns. I don't know the name of the horns, but they're like a military call.
So backing you up a little bit, not to cut you off, but just because I'm not as familiar with San Andreas as I should be. So when you want to get the jetpack in San Andreas, you actually have to complete that mission with The Truth or whatever by 5:30 a.m. to receive the jetpack?
Right. You have to be in there and at that time. And there wasn't really a lot of cameras that you could really see in San Andreas because, you know, it was old school. And now it's capable. You can do that. There's cameras that actually work. You can actually go inside the tower at Zancudo and see the cameras and where they're kind of located in a way if you look at it close up. Oddly enough, they're the same camera set up at the FIB building, which is strange. But you go, I also found this in the files, and I can't prove this until I can show you some, I'll get some evidence for you. But I also found in the GTA5 files about a air conditioner vent cover, or not an air conditioner, but a vent cover, and that was breakable, right? It would be break. And the way you got into that bunker underground in San Andreas is you had to break like a vent cover that was right beside the bunker.
Get out of here.
So, you know, it's very similar, man. It's pretty much the same.
So you're practically on the verge of more discoveries. So this is nowhere near over. This Black Cell Phone thing isn't the only thing that we're going to be hearing about.
No, there's a lot of it's not over by a long shot. No.
Well, you know, I started out doing a lot of discussions, and I've not that I've leaned away from it, but as time went on, I started just making more edited videos, and, you know, my style kind of changed. Not that I, you know, stopped doing discussions, but they're more few and far in between. I like to kind of go back to my roots and you know, my strong points were really working as a team. That's why I like to bring a lot of people into my channel, because I really believe in teamwork, and I believe this mystery will be solved by using teamwork.
Sure.
You know, Rockstar is very complicated. Like you said, they're sneaky, and it's not going to be one man that solves everything. There's no Superman here. It's going to be, you know, there's not an impotent rage that's going to run around and solve this thing by himself. It's going to be a group of people, you know, a big team.
Right. It's a lot. Like you said, man. You mentioned this earlier, and to touch on that real fast, it's the whole, like, things that look like they're tiny and small little changes that Rockstar throws in these updates. It looks tiny and small to you, maybe a cowbell, to, you know, to regular people. But you got to think, man, that's huge to put something in a game, make sure it works, make sure it doesn't bug out the rest of the game. Like, they went through some trouble to put that there for a reason.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, these weird, rare. Why do they just all of a sudden? That's just how Rockstar works. You know, that's how the whole thing works. And I think the Rockstar Social Club is something to pay attention to. I think the store is something to pay attention to. And I think that we're on the right track. And if we stick together, we will crack this.
Oh, definitely, dude. I firmly agree with you. You know, I've been doing a lot of my mystery video uploads. You know, in the recent past have been about the older games and looking in the past. You know, I even related that whole idea of looking at older games in the past as time traveling. And you know, I think you've seen the video, the Unleashing the Truth time travel. But like, I've really found a lot of connections to, you know, the past. So that, you know, the fact that you brought up that whole San Andreas jetpack thing, you know, having a deadline to a certain time, and that same time or near that time, you know, currently in GTA5 is where they do that morning call with the or whatever at the Zancudo.
Right.
You know, is that a coincidence?
Right.
I mean, is that a coincidence? You had to have, you know, you get the jetpack from the military base in game A, which is San Andreas, at have to have it done by a certain time, and now game B, which is GTA5, you know, around that same time, if not that exact time. I'm not sure what, you know, exact time it is, but I know in the early mornings, as you said, they do that morning call with the trumpets and all that stuff. It is the army base, okay? You found codes for event or a cover, okay, and we escaped whatever through event. There's so many connections. Can it be a coincidence? I don't think so. I just, you know what I mean?
Correct, right.
It just sounds like maybe we are on the right track. We're kind of putting the pieces together as we're seeing them, but we're just not there yet. We're so close, yet we're far away.
It's very literal. It's very, very, like, it's not a difficult thing at all. It's just that there's so much information, and that's it's like a mad scientist. It takes so many, we're going on 3 years now, you know, some people still haven't let up, and that's the awesome thing, and they don't have to, because Rockstar can just keep throwing stuff in, and throwing stuff in, and throwing stuff in, because every time people get down and kind of get quiet about it, something pops up. And you notice that? It's like a trend, man. Every single time, boom, something gets, every single time. It doesn't go longer than about a month or so, it seems, especially now in next gen.
Exactly. Well, Karma, thank you very much. I appreciate you jumping on and giving me the time of day today and having this discussion and talking about your discovery. I really do appreciate it. Good job on the black cell phones, man. Thanks for the insight, and I would love to, continue this discussion sometime soon. Hit me up whenever you're available. Guys, I will leave his Twitter in the description. Don't be shy. Thank you guys all for watching. Karma, anything before we go? And you wanna any last comments, sayings, anything like that?
Hey, I want to say thanks, man. It's mutual. We enjoyed it. We appreciate it. My son as well. Got to give him credit. You know, what credit's due. He's helped me just as much. And we'll be here, man. We're willing to do this however you want to do it. We're always down.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, man. The community appreciates it. I appreciate it. You know, you're bringing new things to the table. I always try to do the same, as well as the other hunters. You know, we're all trying to help. We all basically look at it the same. We're all a team here. We're trying to do, we're just trying to solve this puzzle, solve this mystery. You know, it's such a powerful puzzle. And, everybody that's putting in their effort and their work to help us get somewhere, man, is good in my book. So thank you very much, Karma. Guys, that was Karma. Thank you so much. It's been a very, very good time. See you guys soon. If not in the next video, then in the next broadcast. Have a good one, and until next time, ta-ta, and as always, peace!
Islam, brother.
Open up my eyes.